What's up, 208 Fantasy Football? This is Chance here. Hey, I just want to talk to you guys a little bit today about the importance of the handcuff running back. Now, in fantasy, if you don't know, a handcuff running back is the backup running back to a starting running back on a team. And we refer to them as handcuffs. And a great example of the importance of a handcuff running back, let's look back 2023, Zach Moss, great example. When Jonathan Taylor went down and couldn't start the season, Zach Moss, his backup, came in and balled out. In his first 5 weeks, he crushed it. He averaged 22 fantasy points a week and half-point PPR. An absolute monster for those first 5 weeks. Won a ton of games for people playing fantasy. Now, the same thing happens every year. It's super important to put a few handcuff running backs on your team, especially if you draft an injury-prone running back, or if you draft a running back pretty high and you want to make sure that you have a piece of that offense. A few great examples of handcuff running backs this season. We've got a couple of rookies in Blake Corum and Marshawn Lloyd, right? Blake Corum backing up Kyren Williams. The Rams went out and drafted him high. They've got a lot of capital in him. Him and Kyren Williams, pretty similar game. So if you draft Kyren high, it's, I think, really important to try to draft Kyren or Blake Corum later on in your draft. That way, if Kyren goes down, Blake Corum can step right in and you don't lose any fantasy points in that offense. Marshawn Lloyd's the same. If Josh Jacobs, who has a ton of wear on his tires for the Packers, if he goes down to injury or if he's being inefficient, Marshawn Lloyd was a great back out of USC, could fit into his place really easy. A couple of guys that are also important that have been in the league a little longer. I think Ty Chandler is a super important handcuff to have. Even if you don't draft Aaron Jones, having Ty Chandler as one of those running backs where if Aaron Jones takes a little bit to get going or like last year has dealt with injuries, Ty Chandler from that coaching staff has been the guy that they've been hyping up as the backup. Right? It's important to draft some of those guys to have them to back up your starters, right? And we all know it's super fun to draft really high, like hero running backs. We call it hero RB. Bijan Robinson's a great example of that. And myself, Matt, and Lineberry, we all think Bijan's going to be an absolute stud this year. Last year, still a stud on the Falcons, but Tyler Algier, who's his backup, still got a lot of run, still did a lot of great things for that team. And if you have a hero RB, one of those RBs that you draft really high in a good offense that you believe in, Tyler Algier is a great example of a guy that if Bijan were to go down, if they run him a ton and he deals with an injury, which happens to running backs all the time. It's so rare for a running back to play every single game of the season because they just get smashed by the defense over and over and over again. Tyler Algier is a great player if you draft Bijan to maybe draft late and keep him on your bench just in case, right? Then again, if your running back goes out, I can just shuffle him right in. And there's kind of a fun little gamble. Sometimes it's important to draft your running back's handcuff. But I also find myself in drafts, if my handcuff is gone, and there's a handcuff to another running back for another guy on that team, I'll draft it because I think that, again, it's a shot in the dark like a lot of those late round picks are. But that position, that handcuff running back could be a league winner, could win you enough games to get you into the playoffs, can be really important. We see it every single year. So whether it's one of those four or maybe it's one of the backups for the Niners, for McCaffrey, or there's a whole number of guys. It's super important to draft some of those backup running backs and have on your team because we know the injury bug hits everyone. Hopefully it doesn't hit your favorite fantasy player this summer. Hopefully it doesn't hit him this year. Just in case, go get your handcuffs in your drafts. 208, have a good day. We'll see you later.